Today we're gonna look at some Microsoft Windows UI frameworks and hint some or a lot of them are garbage. So let's dig in. It's some history here. So I'm a .NET developer myself, or maybe I don't like to call myself like a .NET developer. I have worked with so many technologies. I've done like C++, C, Swift, C#, Python, JavaScript, a bunch of different languages and techniques, but I have done a lot of .NET and C# development. And if we check this list, Win32 from 1985, so it says it's a Windows built-in API. I don't know if that counts. I think it's like lays as a foundation for a lot of these technologies. MFC I have encountered once. It was a super owned code base that was using MFC, and then I did some patch to that. It was some application that I needed to bug fix. So I don't have like a solid opinion about MFC. The code base I've seen, that looked a bit confusing with a super long file with the UI, and it was a little bit difficult to follow along how it interacted with the business logic. It felt like it was a bit tangled together. But that, on the other hand, seems to be the modern thing today with like React and Blazor, where you put the UI and business logic or so like together. So yeah, maybe it's a cycle and it comes back. WinForms I have not used, but it is still being maintained and the people use it. I think this is one of the maybe better ones together with WPF. So this one I've done a lot of projects with, and yes, so it's 20 years this year, so as we can see. WinForms is also quite owned. Okay, yeah, with WinForms it says it's in maintenance mode and no new features are planned or being added. But if you know WinForms, then I would recommend to like continue to use this. The same with the WPF, since we will see here there's so much crap that has come out since then. So it's a bit sad state that the frameworks that are the best are 20 and 24 years owned. Like we have Silverlight, so that was discontinued, as you can see, and we don't use that anymore. Xamarin also discontinued or like replaced, so also not something you use. WinJS, I haven't even heard about this. It seems not to be developed any further, and this was written in 2023, so yeah, I guess it's dead as well. And this, I think, came out around Windows 8 when they had their tablets and WinRT and a bit ARM-based Windows. I think that's dead as well, and then they made 𝗕𝗏𝗡. So this one I tried to use in an at the time it was quite new when I tried to use this. I was thinking since WPF, and that's the old one that is like isn't that deprecated or replaced by 𝗕𝗏𝗡, shouldn't you use this one instead? But I struggled and I went back to WPF. I couldn't afford to like spend a lot of time with this. I think they tried to make it more like Android and iOS apps where you like need to ask for permissions. But I don't really know if it worked in practice. I remember I had issues like with opening a socket, and I wanted to listen to some port manually, but then with the permission model, and it was so difficult with WPF. There you can do anything. It's just a basic C# application without any permissions. So I think here you don't like risk yourself of locking yourself into something. So yeah, that's why it's like a solid choice still, and it's 20 years old, but it's also battle tested. It has worked for so many different scenarios. And then we have WinUI and WinUI 3 and apparently MAUI in between. I didn't know there were two parallel tracks. And to make it even more confusing, I have done a lot of Blazor development, and there's also something called ASP.NET Core Blazor Hybrid. Like it says here, to make it run natively on your device. So Blazor is a web framework. But here I saw another article. If we look here, choosing the right UI framework for native Windows applications. So apparently it's so confusing with Microsoft and .NET, so you even need a guide to be able to figure out where to start. Here you have .NET MAUI, WinUI, WinForms, WPF, 𝗕𝗏𝗡, Blazor. So yeah, a lot of garbage, and the funny thing I think is that Microsoft themselves don't even believe in these things. They keep reinventing the UI frameworks, but like Visual Studio Code, for instance, that's an Electron web-based application, so they don't even use their own technology themselves. So you don't really get that much confidence in these frameworks that they just pump out. Like how long are they going to survive? Here in this chart we have .NET MAUI, Blazor Hybrid, React Native. Yeah, I think maybe this is the best framework of all of them. Almost, it's not even Microsoft, but it seems like Microsoft are using React, and maybe that's more solid than like trusting their own frameworks. Since I get the impression that Microsoft themselves are using React instead of their own things. Here we had EVP and Win32, Windows Forms, WinUI 3, WPF, and and a lot of different properties and what they support and yada yada. I don't know. I think I would stay away from most things here. Maybe WPF if you're already using it. Then I think this one is maybe the best choice. But I would like to give an honorable mention to Avalonia UI. So that is heavily inspired by WPF. They also have some product called XPF. So that is compatible completely with WPF. But if you just use regular Avalonia, XPF, that's more for professionals who want to pay money for this. But regular Avalonia. So if you know WPF, then it's very easy to get started with Avalonia. And that is cross-platform. Windows, macOS, Linux, iOS, Android, and WebAssembly. So WPF, the regular one, that one you can only run on Windows. So, but if you want to have cross-platform, then you can do it with Avalonia. And a lot of people are using it, and it has a lot of stars on GitHub, and it has been out for quite a while. And a lot of people talk well about Avalonia. So if I would pick one framework, I would probably pick Avalonia if I needed to pick one of all .NET frameworks that are out there. But I mentioned Blazor, so I've done a lot of development in Blazor. It's quite interesting because it's like React, but C# equivalent to that. So you have your HTML code and then you have your C# code in the same file, just like with React components. But with Blazor, then you have your Razor components instead. So it's very convenient when we're developing. On the other hand, if we check here are benchmarks between a lot of different frameworks. So it's super many. So if you scroll here, scroll. Yeah, a lot of different ones that you have never heard of, and here are different tests they have gone through. If we continue to scroll, so it's the fastest and slower to the right. So if we go a little bit here, we can see if we recognize something like Vue, we see here. Let's see if we see something else that we recognize. So many. Maybe this is a bit telling about the JS market, that there are so many different ones. Here we have React hooks. So now we're like in the middle here on the scroll bar. Aurelia, React tagged state, React Mlyn, React Supergrain. Oh, I don't know what all of this is. There we had React classes, but at the very to the right here, what do we have here? Blazor WASM and Blazor WASM AOT. So that is the slowest of all frameworks here. Then we have Blazor. A lot of red. Oi. So among all JS single page application frameworks, the worst of them all is Blazor. So that's a little bit sad. So they have two different modes. It's WASM. So then you like download a big binary with C# compiled to WebAssembly, and so that takes a bit longer time to load. And on the other hand, you have also Blazor server. Then it starts quicker, but you also always have a WebSocket to the server that keeps the site updated. So if your connection is a little bit bad and the WebSocket breaks, then you get some error message on the screen that it has lost connection with the server. So the user experience isn't the best with Blazor server, but I think it works quite well for internal applications where you don't expect so many users. But with Blazor WASM, so maybe that's more for external things when you expect users. But on the other hand, if you see here, it's so slow compared to other frameworks. So I don't know if that's really the best user experience. But that's a bit sad. So if we go back here to this list, yeah, maybe it is like React or something else. Yeah, I don't really have much confidence in any of these, except for like WPF on WinForms. It seems like they will continue to live on. These other ones, yeah, who knows when they will be replaced. I think it's just a matter of time. And those are my opinions about the garbage Microsoft UI frameworks. Please leave me a comment and tell me what you think about Microsoft's frameworks. Which one is your favorite and which ones do you dislike? It would be interesting to hear what you have worked with. And we will see each other another time. Bye-bye.